Well, welcome everyone. I am going to get started because we have a packed agenda today with a lot of really wonderful, amazing, inventive, inspiring programming. My name is Matt Wynia. I direct the Center for Bioethics and Humanities here at the University of Colorado. And I was asked to give a couple opening comments, and I'll just say my opening comment is this program today is exactly why we have the space that we are in. This facility is incredibly unique, and we are very lucky to have it for at least two reasons. One, we're lucky to have it because it is so unique. There really is no other health sciences campus in the country, maybe in the world, that has a building entirely dedicated to the integration of science, the arts, and bioethics. And the program today is really the perfect sort of exemplary reason to have a facility like this. And by the way, it's not just the program today. It's the fact that we have an ongoing exhibit. It's the fact that we have, the exhibit around the drum, as we call it here, that we have Jules Mendoza's amazing mural outside. This, sort of aggregation of different types of arts and humanities, storytelling, with issues that are so important to science and medicine makes this a remarkable and a really wonderful place to work. Before we get started, I want to thank a couple of people. I did make notes on this because otherwise I will forget. Okay, the people I need to thank. People I need to thank include, and this will undoubtedly be incomplete, but it includes folks from the Kempe Center, folks from the Center for Bioethics and Humanities, folks from the Office of Advancement, and our Chancellor's Office and other leaders across the campus, all of whom have been very supportive of this. So I'll start with a few people in our own Center for Bioethics and Humanities. Malia Himber, Lisa Culhane just walked out. Danielle Chait is around somewhere, and David Weil, I think, gets special recognition, especially for this one. David often gets special recognition for a variety of things that he does, but without David, we would not have Jules Mendoza's mural outside. And I don't know that it's possible to tally the number of hours that David and Warren have spent on, building the program today and the exhibits that you see outside. So I want to give special thanks to David. In the Kempe Center, I want to give special thanks to Abby Fitz, Lacey Johnson, and Megan Haas. And in advancement, special thanks to Kaylee Newton. I also want to say thanks to Terry Carruthers. I don't know if Terry is here, but I think Terry has just been critical to bringing this all together. Again, not just this symposium, but the larger sort of testimony series. And then last but not least, I want to acknowledge that this symposium is really not just about bioethics and humanities and the sciences and medicine. It's about advocacy. And I think it is widely recognized that lawyers have advocacy as part of their job, right? The French word for lawyer is avocat. Advocacy is the job of lawyers. We sometimes forget that those of us in medicine also do advocacy all the time. We are, constantly doing things to advocate for individual patients and for the communities that we serve. We just don't get taught about that in medical training or in nursing school or in pharmacy school. That doesn't mean it's not part of our job. It means we haven't paid as much attention to it as we probably should. And so I really want to appreciate Warren Binford for bringing that focus to the symposium today, bringing together the arts and humanities with science for an advocacy agenda to help protect So the specific focus today is protecting the rights and well-being of children in migration. I think this, we could not have started in a better space for this, and we could not have started with a better person for this. Warren is a relatively new arrival to our campus. She is a pandemic arrival to our campus. We were incredibly lucky to be able to recruit her, and we recruited her because the position that she sits in is in both the Kempe Center and in our center. And that building that bridge has been, critical, obviously, to the programming today. It is also, I think, critical to the future of both our center and the Kempe Center and our campus more broadly. So I want to thank everyone who has made the recruitment of Warren here a possibility. There is a great deal more I could say about Warren and her accomplishments, but anyone who has met her and spent more than 15 minutes with her will know that she will say, "Stop making this about me." So I'm going to not make this about her. I'm going to just say, welcome to Warren Binford, and I turn the program over to you.
Thank you so much, Matt. Matt was the chair of the hiring committee, and I think that process went on for about a year and a half, and I had never intended to leave my previous university, and so it was not easy. But I will tell you, one of the reasons why I did eventually come to the University of Colorado is I said to Matt Wynia, the director of the Bioethics and Humanities program, "Hey, could I commission a mini opera and organize an art exhibit and organize a multidisciplinary symposium bringing together all the top attorneys and doctors and musicians and artists from around the country?" And he's like, "Yeah, that sounds great. You should do that." And we did. I am so, so thrilled that all of you are here today. I know so many of you, not on a social basis, but on a social justice basis, that we have been so many different places together and tried our best to do the best work that we can to advance the rights of children and families. And I have had a chance to admire your work up close and to see the sacrifices that you've made for others. And you, and especially the children and families that we serve together, are the inspiration for this program. So what you'll see is a variety of components to testimony, all of them intentionally centered on the children arriving to the United States that we've all been working together to serve. This particular body of work came out of June 2019, when a number of you were with me when we walked into a Border Patrol facility expecting to discover no children, and we discovered 352 children being kept in a warehouse, a loading dock, and overcrowded jail cells. The conditions were truly horrific. Many of the children were sick. Virtually all of them were deeply distraught. Some of them had been separated from their families, and we had been watching the conditions getting worse and worse over a 2-year period. We were given permission for the first time in the history of a class action suit on behalf of these children that dates back to 1980s to actually talk to the media about what we discovered, because 7 children had died in the previous year for the first time in almost a decade. And you and I knew that more children were going to die unless we did something to change the conditions and the way that children were being treated in the United States. But we knew we couldn't do it alone. And in fact, we immediately saw a whitewash that was happening at the highest levels of government. And so we talked about what we could do. And we created a pop-up nonprofit called Project Amplify. We created a pop-up website, and we, the attorneys in the case, filed a petition for a temporary restraining order. And we put all of the sworn testimonies that were submitted in support of trying to get the government to stop abusing children onto that website. And then we made a national and international call to every artist, every poet, every musician, every songwriter, and said, please, please, please read the children's declarations and use whatever talents you have been given to help amplify their voices and tell their stories. And hundreds of you literally responded. We had skywriters, we had playwrights, we had musicals written, we've had songs and poems, and it has been so overwhelming. We're highlighting in the testimony series several of those projects, and you can walk around during the breaks and see them. We've got the Hear My Voice, Escucha Mi Voz children's book, which has won 37 awards. Around the Drum, you'll see a selection of comics from Border X, which is an anthology created by some of the top comics artists in the country. We also have selected pieces from Do You Know Where the Children Are, which was an exhibit that was shown a mile from the White House. And we have in the back, the Flores exhibits playing on loop throughout the day, which was created by the Broadway community. And then we added, and we also have 365 Days, which was created by an education technologist who is determined to write one watercolor with a quote from a child in Flores every single day for an entire year. So I encourage you to walk around and do that. But one of the things that I'm excited about is that you didn't stop there. That just this year you have Jules Mendoza, who stepped forward and created the beautiful Fly to Heal mural that you'll see on the west side of this building. You also tonight at 5:45 will see an immersive vocal drama that was composed by J.E. Hernandez, who was himself detained when he was arriving to the United States. His family was living in the U.S. He had been born in Mexico, and he was traveling back and forth and was returning to his family in the United States, and he himself was detained as a young person. And then our most recent installation was by Chandrika Medivier, who is the leading Mylar artist in the country. And we commissioned her recently to do a pop-up Mylar exhibit, and she also has helped create some framing for tonight's immersive vocal drama. But you'll see some of her Mylar works that are reminiscent of the Mylar blankets that some of the children were given. Some of the children were never given any blankets, and those who were given blankets, it was often made of Mylar. So in any event, testimony is all of these things put together. And today we're going to focus on a symposium. And that symposium is comprised of 4 panels. The first panel is going to be coming down in just a moment. That's focused to highlight the artist advocacy exhibit that I just told you about. We have people who contributed, worked on those different art projects, who contributed to that. That'll be our first panel. We'll then take a break. After that, we'll bring forward some of the attorneys who were doing site visits. We then will have Lee Gillert, who is the lead attorney in the case, Mizell versus ICE, which at least for the time being ended family separation in the United States, for our keynote speaker. That'll be followed by True North Duo, who wrote The Ghost of Abelito, which was semifinalist for a Grammy the year after they wrote it. We then in the afternoon will have 2 panels. The first one will be on muralism and the performing arts, which will include Jules Mendoza, the muralist who created the beautiful Fly to Heal, and some of the people who are participating in the performance tonight, as well as Kristen Granger, who authored The Ghost of Abelito. And then our last panel will be healthcare colleagues, both medical and behavioral health, who did these visits with us and helped us to take a multidisciplinary approach when we were interviewing those children and report not just on their legal rights, but their health rights, which are critically important. So if I could ask the first panel to please come down. And while they're doing that, I'm just going to introduce the moderator. All of these panels are intended to be conversational, that we want to hear people's spontaneous thoughts. We want them to respond to each other and everything. So you're not going to hear prepared remarks or speeches or anything like that today. And you are intended to be part of that conversation. You all have microphones. They'll first talk amongst themselves, and then you'll have an opportunity to join the conversation with them. And